Hello everyone, in the previous segment we have discussed about RBCs, their structure, the place where they are produced before the birth of the offspring and after birth. We have few more points regarding the RBCs which we will discuss in this video. One is the lifespan and disposal. Lifespan and disposal of RBCs. And then we will come to the conditions which are required for the erythropoiesis. And in the end we will talk about the hemoglobin, which is the red pigment present in the RBCs. In the earlier video we have said that the RBCs, that is the lifespan of RBCs, is about 120 days. So the life of RBCs is 120 days. Now what is going to happen after the life of RBCs? That is, when they complete the life of 120 days, they undergo phagocytosis or phagocytosed by the WBCs. So after they complete their life of 120 days, RBCs, that is red blood corpuscles, they are phagocytosed by the WBCs. And are destroyed in the spleen. Destroyed in spleen. And spleen is the organ where the production of RBCs takes place, as well as they are getting destroyed. So spleen is also known as the graveyard and the blood bank of the RBCs, that is red blood corpuscles. So spleen is also known as graveyard and blood bank of RBCs, because spleen is the organ where more and more RBCs are produced. That's why it is known as the blood bank, or in other words, excess RBCs are also stored in the spleen. That's why it is also known as the blood bank of red blood corpuscles. The red blood corpuscles, after the destruction, they are also destroyed in the spleen. That's why it is known as the graveyard. So this was all about the RBCs, that is after 120 days they are engulfed by the WBCs and are destroyed in the spleen. Spleen is the organ where the production of RBCs takes place in the fetal stage. In the earlier video, in the previous video, we have said that liver is the organ where the production of RBCs takes place in the fetal stage. So spleen and liver both helps in the production of RBCs in the fetal stage. After the RBCs get destroyed, the plasma membrane, that is the outer covering of the RBCs, becomes flexible. Then that is known as the Donan's membrane. That is the membrane of RBCs, after they get destroyed, becomes flexible and it is known as the Donan's membrane. And the hemoglobin pigment, which is the red pigment of RBCs, after the RBCs get destroyed, it decomposes into or breaks up into the three components. That is, hemoglobin breaks into three components. One is hemosiderin, which is the iron containing part, or we can say iron rich part. After the RBCs are destroyed, it gets used up in the blood. Second is bilirubin, It is the yellow pigment present in bile. And the last is the biliverdin, which is also the yellow pigment present in bile. These both components, that is bilirubin and biliverdin, after the destruction of RBCs, they get excreted out from the body. If they remains in the body, they get deposited under the skin, and then that condition is known as the jaundice. In other words, if the bilirubin and biliverdin are not excreted out from the body, they get deposited under the skin, then that condition or that disease or the person have to suffer from the jaundice disease or problem. One important term or one important thing about the bilirubin is that it is a yellow pigment which is present in the RBCs, and it imparts a pale yellow color to the plasma. So the color of the plasma, that is pale yellow, slight pale, is due to the bilirubin. So it gives pale yellow color to the plasma. Now come to the erythropoiesis. As we have earlier said in the video that erythropoiesis is the process of formation of RBCs. So it is the process of RBC production. The place where the RBCs are produced, so the place of production is, and these are known as the erythropoietic organs where the RBCs are produced. These are known as erythropoietic organs. Erythropoietic organs before birth, that is liver and spleen, as we have earlier talked about these two. After birth, this job of RBC production is taken over by the red bone marrow. And the chemical which is required for the formation of RBCs is called erythropoietin hormone. It is the chemical which is released by the kidneys and stimulates the formation of RBCs. So the erythropoietin is the chemical or hormone released from kidneys. When it is released from the kidneys, the process of formation of RBCs started, or in other words, the erythropoietin stimulates the red bone marrow to produce more and more RBCs. Two more things which are required for the formation of RBCs are folic acid and vitamin B12, that is also known as cyanocobalamine. So this was all about the erythropoiesis. The place where the RBCs are produced are known as erythropoietic organs. Before birth, erythropoietic organs are liver and spleen, and after birth this work is done by the red bone marrow. Erythropoietin is the chemical which is released from the kidneys and helps in the production of RBCs. Folic acid and vitamin B12 also helps in the formation of RBC production. Now let us come to the last part, that is hemoglobin, which is present in RBCs. One RBC has about 200 to 280 molecules of hemoglobin. That is, one RBC contains 200 to 280 hemoglobin molecules. Now if we just know how much hemoglobin is present in our blood, then it is 12 to 16 grams per 100 milliliter of blood, and it is known as the hemoglobin count. That is, this number 12 to 16 grams per 100 milliliter of blood is known as hemoglobin count. Like we have RBC count, this is the hemoglobin count. Hemoglobin count decreases, or we can say it falls in our body due to any reasons, like if iron is not there in the nutrition, or it can be due to the protein deficiency. This hemoglobin is made up of two parts, that is the heme part, which is the iron containing part, and the globin, which is the protein part. If this hemoglobin decreases in our body, then the condition is known as anemia. So if there is fall in the hemoglobin count, then the person have a problem of anemia. We will discuss it in the chapter of respiration, that one molecule of hemoglobin transports about 4 molecules of oxygen. That is, one molecule of hemoglobin transports 4 molecules of oxygen. That's why it is known as the respiratory pigment, because hemoglobin helps in the transport of respiratory gases, that is carbon dioxide and oxygen. Hemoglobin can bind with oxygen to form short-lived temporary complex. That is, hemoglobin binds with oxygen to form temporary complex, that is oxyhemoglobin. Hemoglobin can also bind with the carbon dioxide to form carbaminohemoglobin. Hemoglobin has more affinity towards carbon monoxide. That is, in addition to the oxygen and carbon dioxide, hemoglobin has 200 times more affinity to bind with the carbon monoxide to form a permanent complex, that is carboxyhemoglobin, which is dangerous to our body. So hemoglobin binds with carbon monoxide also to form permanent complex, that is carboxyhemoglobin. And this hemoglobin binds with carbon monoxide in those conditions whenever the carbon monoxide is present in our body, in the deficiency of oxygen, when there is not formation of carbon dioxide takes place properly. So in that condition, carbon monoxide is available in our body. In that condition, hemoglobin binds with the carbon monoxide to form a permanent complex, that is carboxyhemoglobin, which is the dangerous to our body. So this was all about the red blood corpuscles, that is lifespan and disposal, erythropoiesis, that is the process of production of RBCs, hemoglobin, and hemoglobin is made up of two parts, heme part, that is the iron containing part, and iron is present in the ferrous form, and globulin is the protein part. Hemoglobin is the respiratory pigment which can transport both the respiratory gases, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide. In certain conditions, it also binds with the carbon monoxide, which is very dangerous to condition for our body. In the next video, we will discuss about the WBCs, that is white blood corpuscles. I hope you like this video, that is the biology with Abhi sir. This is my channel, so subscribe it and share it also.